Hello design lovers, I'm Ashley Childers and welcome to my Cozy Fall Front Porch. I'm so excited for this week's video because I am going to share some fall front porch decor ideas with you so you can achieve a beautiful, sophisticated fall front porch at your home. Okay, so let's break down how I achieved this gorgeous fall front porch at my home. So first of all, a lot of times I have to wait a little later into the fall to decorate my front porch because I always use real pumpkins and of course live plant material on my front porch. I just think it gives such a beautiful natural quality to the entrance of our home. So I was so excited when our local garden center, Good Earth, we called them, they had all of the pumpkins and mums in, and I was so excited to go and visit them. It's one of my very favorite times of year to visit the garden center. They had tons of beautiful mums, pumpkins, gorgeous fall grasses, and kale to choose from. So the very first thing that I did was choose all of the pumpkins that I wanted to use on our front porch display. So I generally opt for Cinderella style pumpkins. I just think they are classic and beautiful and timeless. And I often gravitate towards muted colors. So muted sage greens, white, really beautiful kind of nude orange color, more on the softer side. I don't usually do bright orange pumpkins, especially in September. So I was able to pick up just a slew of gorgeous pumpkins, and I always like to go early. So that's my pro tip for you. Go to your garden center or your local pumpkin patch early to get the best selection, and we had a really great selection at Good Earth. So I went through. What I like to do when I'm picking the pumpkins is usually pick a pair that complement each other, especially because I like the display to go up both sides of our steps into the front of our home. So that gives some balance, and when you choose your pumpkins, if you have two that complement each other, you know that there's going to be symmetry and balance on each side of your staircase. Now, if you're a minimalist and you just want one pumpkin on the side, make sure it's gorgeous. If you feel like I don't have enough pumpkins and you want to add more to your front porch, or you have more steps than I do, then go right ahead. This is just an idea for you of what you can do in a really beautiful transitional color palette that will last you from September all the way through until you put up your Christmas decor. Now, after choosing all of my perfect pumpkins, we decided to cascade them down all of the steps. And I have 4 steps on our front porch. So as you can see, I did different sizes and of course, like I said, different colors. And there's quite a few pumpkins on this display, and I like to do them on the inside of all of our plants. Now, when it comes to the plants for fall, for where we live in the south and it's still fairly warm. We're having a few cooler days, but it's not super cool here. It's like in the 80s. So what I like to do in early fall especially is use some of the plants that I had out for the summer. So I have some asparagus fern and some chaste trees that we always keep up on the front porch, and they're beautiful. They're really abundant because they've been growing all summer long, and I use them as kind of an anchoring plant material for the fall display. Now, when I think about fall planting, of course, mums always comes to mind, but I also like to mix in something a little bit more unexpected, and I did that this year with the really beautiful purple fountain grass. I love the color of purple fountain grass, and I also just love the textural quality that it adds to our front porch. Bonus is also that when I'm done with the fall front porch, if I want to take this beautiful purple fountain grass and plant it out in the landscape along the little creek bank or any other place on our landscape, I can. It's just beautiful, and it'll last, of course, from year to year. When I was choosing the mums for the front porch, we went with a really beautiful burgundy and copper this year. Those are the colors that I wanted to bring out. Now, of course, it's early fall, so the burgundy plants are not even blooming yet. The copper ones, they say that they're copper, but they also look a little bit burgundy. But at the front, the smaller mums are blooming. The ones at the top are not. I know it's hard sometimes when you go to the plant center and you want your mums to be blooming, but if you choose mums early in September that are not blooming, they are going to be blooming at the time of fall that you want them to bloom, which is, of course, like Halloween through Thanksgiving. Now, let's go back and talk about pumpkins real fast because I know I'm gonna get this question in the comments. So I counted up my pumpkins. I have 22 pumpkins on this front porch. Now, they're not all big. Some of them are teeny tiny, these cute little, I think these are called tiger stripe pumpkins. I'm not exactly sure, but 22 altogether. And if you'll notice, when we displayed them, we did, of course, some of them setting just like a normal pumpkin would, but we also propped some up. We put some on top of each other. We tucked some in, and that just makes a really beautiful composition. So if you want to do a more abundant pumpkin display like I've done, then I would suggest that you play around with the composition and the colors, and that you kind of be a little creative with the way that you're displaying your pumpkins, because it just looks so beautiful and natural and elegant, in my opinion, when you are coming into our home to have this beautiful cascading pumpkin display with all of them kind of tumbling down the staircase. When it comes to the plantings on your front porch, like I said earlier, I love to use plant material from the summer if I can. And then what I often do in some of the pots that I plant our mums in, I like to keep the ivy around the perimeter of the pot. A lot of times I will plant little kind of plugs of ivy around the perimeter of all of my decorative pots in the spring, so that way they grow throughout the spring and summer, and by the time fall rolls around, I have this beautiful cascading ivy and also creeping Jenny around the perimeter of all of my pots. I think it just kind of makes the mums look a little bit more elegant and not so ice cream, like, I don't know, ice cream cone-ish, because the way that the mums grow, they look a little bit like spherical, which is totally fine, but I think having the cascading ivy and creeping Jenny out of the pots just makes them feel really beautiful and abundant. Now, what I like to do, because I have the ivy cascading out of the pots and I have the asparagus fern with all of these long tendrils, once I put all of the pumpkins in place, I like to take the kind of draping tendrils of each one of the plants and work them into all of the pumpkins. So it looks like they are all integrated and into one beautiful, sophisticated, elegant display. Now that we have gone through all of the steps that I took to create my fall front porch display with our plant material and our pumpkins, the finishing touch this year on my fall front porch is these really beautiful grapevine wreaths. Now, if you didn't get a chance to watch last week's video, I did a tutorial on how I created these fun dried natural wreaths, and I think you should go back and look at it because it's really easy. A lot of people get intimidated to create their own wreaths, but this is a super easy tutorial and it turned out beautifully. As you can see, I used the colors in the wreath that will tie into my mums once they bloom, and I just think it's a really beautiful way to add some continuity to the porch when you bring the color from your plant material up onto your front doors. I kind of added, the finishing touch was these really pretty velvet eyelash fringe ribbon that I added, and I love that little pop of color, and I also just think it's so charming when a wreath looks like it is hung by a ribbon. Of course, I have some wreath hangers that are behind each one of the wreaths holding up the weight of the wreath. They're not very heavy to begin with, but I always like to secure my wreaths with a wreath hanger and then just add the decorative detail of the ribbon. I hope that you liked today's video and that it inspires you to create really beautiful and abundant fall porch display at your own home. Now, I want you to tell me in the comments which part of today's video was most helpful and what you're most excited about in creating your fall front porch display this season. If you want a little sneak peek into all of our daily design adventures, which there are a lot, you're going to want to check us out on Instagram at Ashley Childers Home. And if you want more design goodness right now, you need to check out this playlist next. As always, I'm Ashley Childers. Thank you for watching. And remember, good design is for everyone. So create a home that inspires you. Have fun decorating your fall front porch this season and fall in love with where you live, one room at a time.